Good morning. Everyone grab a cookie. Come on. Okay. Good morning. Kind of the same as last test in the B range. Down out. We're going to take it easy today. We're going to take it slow. Yeah. Last time. Okay. We can go over the test briefly. I wasn't planning on it, but we can do that. We can get a head start on the developmental stuff that we'll be covering this week and next week. Or we can take it chill and do a get to know your classmates activity. It's really up to you. Everybody log in though. I only see 4 and I want to see at least 15. Okay. And the code is 1, 3. Let me do this. Where the hell's my bag? One, 3, 8, 6. 1, 3, 8, 6. 9, 4, 1, 5. Okay. Look at you guys being responsible. Because I didn't include it, can I just get a show of hands of who wants to go over, like, maybe the short answers of the test? Going once? Going twice? Now we all feel good about that test?
I just don't want to know what I got wrong right now.
Okay, that's totally fair. They're gonna try to grade it and get it back quickly, or quicker than last time, because you guys got another test coming up really soon after this. So slay. All right. I wanted to check in on how you're doing. If there's anything else I can do to support you. Yeah, just the vibes of the class, of the semester, and yeah, that's a vibe. That's a vibe. Okay, slay. Slay. Okay. Alright. So it looks like y'all actually want to cover developmental stuff. Let me skip the activity then. 1 second. Let me just really quick skip past a bunch. And go here. Okay. Alright, so we're talking about psychology. We talked a little about experimental, and now we're going to talk about developmental. It's a type of psychology. It's really cool. And I just wanted to give a quick overview of things you can expect to know by the end of this class or by the end of these next 2 recitations. What were Piaget's 4 stages of development? There are actually 3 questions to consider. How do schemas get accommodated and assimilated? And who roasted Piaget and how? Like, how was he disproven? How was he usurped? And I just wanted to kind of ease slowly into this lecture with some philosophy. I swear the questions are relevant, but they're more abstract. They require participation. 3 of them. Are we born with inherent knowledge or do we learn only through experience? Like, as a baby, are we born with, like, you know how we're born with reflexes, right? Is there a cognitive version of that? 2 is, does learning accumulate over time, or do you, like, level up and, like, once you reach a certain age, then you get that skill, you know? That's how they always, like, when you go to the doctor, they ask, like, oh, has she begun talking yet, or has she begun walking yet? Like, is it measured by chronological age rather than accumulation? And because there's so many different things that need to be developed, like language, memory, spatial, and numbers, does each one develop on its own, or do they develop like collectively? Okay, and so I want your opinion on like this question, are we born with inherent knowledge? And it kind of throws back to nature versus nurture, you know? Like, are we born with inherent skills, inherent abilities, inherent qualities, which would be nature, or do we acquire them through like interaction? Okay, so go ahead, cast your vote. They also have two different names for it. Like constructivism is like you're born and then you acquire the knowledge. Core knowledge theory is that you were born with inherent skills, like maybe language or grammar or that kind of thing. Okay. We have some people thinking that you just acquire them after birth. We aren't born with inherent properties. Okay, team constructivism. That kind of leads to my next question. Forget birth, you know, what about learning in general? Like, do you think it accumulates over time, or do you think once you hit a certain age, like, you acquire those skills? Like, kind of like Pokemon, you know, like, you're at one stage, maybe below 3, and you can do these 3 things. But then suddenly you level up, and maybe you're 4 years old now, and so you can do these brand new skills. And so like, the idea is that with every new stage, you get a new ability, like new ability right here. And so they're distinct, they're separate, and it's just like, yeah, that's how development is. Or is it just more continuous? Like, you see how this tree just grows larger and larger? That's like pretty continuous. Versus like this evolution, like kind of stages thing going on. This is the idea of continuous or non-continuous. Oh, I forgot to. Consider the bottom one non-continuous, okay? Sorry, I had a hard weekend, but I'm here. Okay, you think it's continuous, and then people down here think it's non-continuous, like stages, like leveling up. Okay, interesting. Remember your answers because you might be disputed. And these are terms you should know from that question, like either it's like continuous, like you just grow and accumulate, or it's stages, discontinuous, okay? And the charts still exist. If you're confused about it, you can go to the charts, yeah. And then the last question is, you know, we have so many different varieties of things we have to develop. Do they all develop collectively, or do they like develop individually? For example, maybe when you hit 4, all of your skills just kind of go up a little bit. Or maybe you get really good at language, but your walking is still shit. Or like maybe you are really good at numbers, but you can't read. Like, is it collectively, or does it vary as it goes up? Okay. Looks like collectively. So you're saying that it's a horizontal, that there's horizontal faculties, and they all level up together. Okay. Well, these kind of all break down. You can put them kind of coarsely into 2 teams, and they kind of go against each other, right? They're opposites of each other. Core knowledge is like you're inherently born with stuff. Constructivism is like, no, you can only learn through experience. Continuous is that it develops and accumulates like slowly over time. And then discontinuous is that stage idea. Vertical faculties are the idea that one skill develops and then another skill develops, and they develop like without the other. They're not tied together. They develop on their own accord. And horizontal that they slowly rise together. Remember your team, because it is going to play a role in if you're on Team Piaget and more. So this is Team Piaget. He is a pretty chill guy. This is an example of his office. He is a hoarder, but he's really smart, and he kind of made all of developmental psychology. He's like kind of the core guy. So we can't have a lesson without him, even though he's kind of outdated and a bunch of people overthrew his ideas. We still got to learn him, and in every textbook, they will talk about him because he was like the first one to be like, yo, maybe there's different abilities according to age, and we shouldn't just group all kids with kid and then grown up. Like, what if it's stages, guys? What if it's more? And he's super, super popular. He is like the second most cited psychologist other than B.F. Skinner of like all time. And I'm telling you right now, you could Google him and Google these stages and find billions of YouTube videos explaining it. You probably can't do that with any other topic in this class, but with Piaget, it's like covered in every single freaking class ever. So, yeah, he started out by testing the IQ of kids with Binet and Simon, which you might learn later on. They made IQ tests. But he got more fascinated with like the patterns of errors. He noticed that like maybe 3-year-olds consistently made the same pattern over and over and did not learn from their mistakes like adults. So he's like, it seems like it's not just a like this one problem issue. It seems to be more of a conceptual, cognitive issue, you know? Like maybe they just haven't reached that point where they can cognitively understand the world. Like, bro, what is it? And so he proposed a theory of the failures and the abilities of each stage. And kind of a callback, this is his 4 stages. Would this be an example of continuous or discontinuous knowledge? He has this first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage. Is that continuous or discontinuous? Yeah, waiting for 5. Okay, slay. Glad you guys understand that. Can we hit 15? I'll be really sad if we can't hit 15 right now. Bro. Yeah, everyone log in. Everyone log in right now, bro. There's more than 19 people in this room. Let me count you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I need 2 more people. Come on. Don't make me do poll everywhere where I actually have to track you, because that's lame. Just log on, please. Okay, so we're going to break down this into names, age ranges, their abilities and their weaknesses, and also their like egocentricity. So egocentricity is like only I exist in the world, or other people's perspectives like are in the world, or like I'm the only person existing in the world, or other people exist, like their relations between themselves and others. Okay, we're gonna break it down. I really like this because it's super cute. Sense and motor stage, they're mainly going and grabbing stuff and learning through that. Pre-operational, they're finally learning that there's like symbolic meaning to water. They can name it and that kind of stuff. At the concrete operational, they can finally understand like that these two are the same amount of water, even though this one's skinny, even though like this one's taller than that. And then at the formal operational, we're thinking like philosophically now. We're thinking like glass half empty, half full. So I really like this. And you're probably going to have to memorize the ages for this and the names for this, in case on the test he asks like, this child is between age 1 and da-da-da-da. What stage is he at? Or he might ask the opposite, where he's like, oh, like, a child is at the concrete operational stage. Like, how old is he? And you'd have to, like, ask out of the questions, okay? You might also offer an ability and ask what stage it is. So we're going to go through all of those. Okay. As usual, there is a chart on this because I know it's a lot of information. The chart is kind of shit right now. And I'm gonna fix it once I get energy. I'm gonna do it. But I made the slideshow, so slay, and I'm here, so that's great. And the mnemonic of the day is, the two of us need some puffy Cheetos from 7-Eleven, okay? And what does that mean? So 2 would be 2 right here. So that would be from 0 to 2. Some would be sensomotor stage. Puffy would be pre-operational stage. C would be concrete operational. F would be formal operational. And then now you know the numbers, right? And the numbers are 2, 7, 11, okay? The two of us need to go to 7, 11, okay? So it would be from 0 to 2 is the sensomotor stage. 2 to 7 is the pre-operational. 7 to 11 is concrete operational, and then like 11 plus, okay? You feel like we can memorize that mnemonic? I'm gonna quiz you guys on it later, so at least write it down or something. Do whatever you need to do to memorize the mnemonic. Here it is again. I will leave it up for 5 minutes while you guys copy this down. 5 seconds, not 5 minutes. Go ahead, do your copying. Do whatever you need to do to memorize it. Okay? And for people who just walked in, this is a mnemonic to memorize these stages. It's Piaget's stages of cognitive development. And one more time, it is the sensomotor stage, the pre-operational stage, the concrete operational stage, and the formal operational stage, okay? So it's pre, concrete, and formal are the words you need to know. And then 2 and 7, 11, again, it's 0 to 2, 2 to 7, 7 to 11, 11 plus. Okay, so now let's break it down. So what do the people, or what do the tiny toddlers have at 0 to 2? Well, they might not be able to do much, but at least they have their sensory systems intact. They can do a lot with that. They look around and observe a lot of shit. And they have their motor system, which allows them to interact, not just only perceive the world. And they have learning systems, and we're going to go into this in more detail. But what you need to know is SML, senses motor learning, okay? Feel good? Written it down? Cool. So, I talked about schemas. Learning systems have schemas, assimilations, disequilibrium, accommodation, and equilibrium. A lot of funky words. What do they mean? Well, let's break it down. What is a schema? And somehow every year people struggle with this because it's kind of an abstract concept. So I'm gonna give an example. So imagine your brain is just your desktop and you're receiving all this information. Like, you're seeing the visuals, you're smelling shit, you're hearing shit. Like, all of it is just coming in and it looks like this unorganized mess. Your brain has to organize that, okay? Imagine I got an AI to organize my desktop. Yes, that is actually what it looks like. And I was like, okay, and they started doing their things. They made a category of just all my dog pictures, for example, maybe that. And they have all these rules for how they make this category of dog. Like, maybe they're looking for furry things. Maybe it needs to be on a leash. Maybe it's a four-legged thing. Maybe it's at like a regular dog height or dog smell. And basically all this is that there's one category and there's a bunch of rules or things known about it, okay? That's what a schema is. This is a schema. It's a category, a framework, whatever you want to think about it. And then it has all these rules or things known about it, okay? Now imagine like my AI suddenly gets some new information. And maybe I uploaded a picture of a cat and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? We've never seen this before. What am I supposed to do? And so it mislabels it as a dog because it's like, okay, all I know is the rules for dogs. This thing is furry, it has 4 legs, it's on a collar, it has a leash, like whatever. And so what it does is assimilating it to that schema, okay? So when something new happens, most children will take whatever new information it is and make a mistake and assimilate it to whatever they already know. Now, I'm like, bro, that's not right. I tell it off. I correct it. It's suddenly at a stage of disequilibrium where it is like something new does not fit into a schema. It doesn't belong anywhere. It's like, oh my God, what is this thing? Like, what are we gonna do about it? Well, you can make a whole new schema for it. You can learn a brand new word for it, cat. And this is the process of accommodation, making it fit into either like making it fit into an existing schema or like making a new schema, okay? And so these are all the stages. It finally reaches a state of equilibrium again, where everyone's happy, everyone's chill, no one's beating up a computer. And those are the stages. So real quick, I'm gonna go over it again. Schema is a category. This new information is assimilated into pre-existing schemas. But suddenly I'm like, bro, no, that's not right. Like, you need to do something about it. And suddenly this piece of information is just floating. And it's like, oh my God, what is it? What is it? And so it does accommodation, and it makes a new schema. You see how there can be multiple schemas, multiple folders, multiple definitions of things in our lives? And then we finally reach a state of equilibrium where we're chilling. And I'm not beating up my PC, and my PC is not dying. And the reason why they use the word equilibrium is because it's this concept that not only do you need physiological equilibrium, like you've probably learned in principles of bio, like you need like homogeneity in your blood and that kind of stuff, but you also need this cognitive equilibrium. You need to be able to make sense of the world. Something's not just random and floating out there. You need a way to understand it. We are meaning-making machines, and when we don't find meaning, we freak out. We're at a state of disequilibrium, okay? So this idea of equilibrium is cognitive. And these are the stages. This is a picture of it. He might just give you a picture. No, he probably will give you an example and then ask you what are the stages for it. And you'll have to know assimilation, disequilibrium, accommodation, and equilibrium. The main things he'll ask about is assimilation and accommodation, okay, though? So in like comparing these and contrasting these, assimilation is like the attempt to get a new piece of information into a pre-existing schema, where accommodation is like you're making a brand new schema, okay? This is the equivalent of putting that cat picture into the dog folder, and accommodation is like the idea of making a brand new folder, okay? And if you don't get it, because I know I'm going kind of fast, this video will be online, yeah. All right, for the people who like to copy, yeah, words. I'm not gonna read them. And so let's look at some goofy mistakes that kids make. Let's see. Where is it? Where's the board pen? Okay, there. Like, I don't know, like, what about this? Like, my 4-year-old called ice cubes water bricks. And now I've never called him anything else. This kid had a pre-existing schema of what bricks are, and he applied like that it is rectangular, that it is a solid, that it's not a drawing, I don't even know, to ice, and was like, yeah, this is a water brick. And so this is an example of, yeah, go for it.
I called soda spicy juice for a really long time.
Yeah, that carbonation is wild, bro. I called like carrots spicy, like orange tips, because I only recently found out that I'm allergic to them, and I thought it was just like really spicy.
Oh.
But yeah, that's on me. Yeah. I haven't died yet though. But like, this is an example of assimilation. Kids will always try to do whatever they can to get that new information into pre-existing schemas, because you don't like not knowing things. And like, this mom, or this dad was like, okay, I'm not going to put them at a state of disequilibrium. I'm not gonna like call them out or something, you know? And so they'll never really go through that state of accommodation and making a new name for it, which is ice. Let's look at another example. What is the pre-existing schema here? Can anyone tell me?
Penguins?
what do they not know? Okay, so a pre-existing schema is something they already have, like in their knowledge. They know how to make it, yeah.
Owl?
Yeah, so they already know the word owl. Maybe they've seen owls, maybe they've gone to the freaking zoo, but they don't know the word for penguins, okay? So what is this process called when they see this penguin and they call it cold owl? Is it going into a new schema or a pre-existing one? So if it's pre-existing, is it assimilation or accommodation? Assimilation, yeah. It would only be accommodations if they got corrected and then it was called penguins. So yeah, going back to it, looking back at it, remember that assimilation is they're fitting it into a pre-existing one until maybe they get corrected and then they have to make a new schema, okay? Yeah, pretty cool, guys. Let me just do one more for shits and gigs. Oh man, come on. Okay, what about, my daughter doesn't know the word for braces, so she calls them tiny jails for your teeth. That's pretty right. I used to literally take pliers and tear out my braces, and that's why my teeth are still terrible. I was kind of a terrible kid. My 3-year-old decided that escalators are called robot stairs, and now it is like that for the rest of her life. I like this one. I mean, yeah, you technically have to cut it, so I agree with that. I don't think that's wrong. That's pretty slay. But okay, yeah, goofy mistakes. And now, just to get it in your brain, what are the 3 capabilities? I'm gonna wait for 5 answers. Please don't make me do poll everywhere. I really don't want to grade attendance based off poll everywhere. It will make me so sad, and yeah. And I'll eat all the cookies. At least 5. Yeah.
Can we grab?
Hmm?
Can we grab this?
Yeah, go for it.
Or,
If you guys don't eat it, I'm gonna eat it. They're both the same thing.
Oh, fire.
There's just like 30 of you guys, so I made like hella batches.
You ate with this one. Oh.
Oh shit, you got 2. Yeah, I don't give a
yeah.
shit, take it. Sorry, there's gonna be 1 less cookie, so if you guys don't grab it quick enough, you're not gonna get a cookie. I also ate some on the way over. Slay. What is sensory? We should know this by now. Someone give me a definition. They're inherently born with sensory abilities, and not only do they perceive the environment, but they also interact with it with motor, sensory mother learning. And then learning is broken down into a bunch of words: schema, assimilation, disequilibrium, equilibrium. Okay? Know that schema is not a stage, but it's kind of like what's getting adapted, what's changing, you know? It's like what you're doing with the folder. Okay? Slay. Okay, sense and motor. Now, we've done that one. We've done this one. You know that one. And look. Okay, now remember, what is a mnemonic? By the way, this was ChatGPT made. They really ate with this one. I told them to give him a mullet though. But like they got puffy Cheetos, like that's crazy. They got like 7-Eleven, like that's wild. The 2 of us need some puffy Cheetos from 7-Eleven. I'm waiting for answers. I'm waiting for at least 10. Yeah. Fuck it up. 2 of us getting, yeah, you can also do it that way. And so we've just covered 0 to 2, which is sense and motor. What is the next one? Oh wait, no, we're talking about what sense of motor can't do. So they have issues with object permanence and A, not B errors, okay? And I know this is gonna be like super wordy and there's just gonna be a lot of terms coming up with each of these stages, so let's dive into it. Object permanence is essentially if you hide an object, they think it's completely gone. A lot of ADHD people on TikTok will be like, oh, I don't have a sense of object permanence. Like, oh my God, I lose my keys all the time. No, you don't. You don't have object permanence issues. Babies have object permanence issues, where if they're out of sight, they do not exist, okay? Like, it's completely gone. Like, it's never existed at all, okay? What ADHD people have is issues with object constancy. Like, if it's not in front of you, you don't remember it. But, like, it still exists. You know it still exists. Does that make sense? Let's see a video of object permanence issues. Please. Thank you.
What do you have there?
Wow.
Is that your yummy
Baby.
giraffe? Let me see.
As an object.
Can I?
And the baby's suddenly like, all right. They don't reach for it, they don't grab it, they don't even know to interact with it. But then suddenly when they see it again, they're like, oh, okay, sure, I'll interact with it. Slay, it suddenly existed again. That's why kids are really freaked out when you play peekaboo with them. It's because, like, they're like, bro, where did you go? Like, where the fuck? I thought you just existed, now you don't exist. See? Like, oh my God, now it's there again.
Okay.
I worked in dev psych and I had to quit because I just think kids look so stupid when they make these mistakes. But yeah, okay. Let's get out of here.
Hi, my name is...
I don't care about you. Yeah, so that's an example of object permanence. If you have issue memorizing permanence, because I know I had to sound it out, you can think of object pair of ants. And if it's like you don't want to memorize anything else, just memorize that an infant got their ass bit by a pair of ants. Wow, I was sleep deprived. I cannot believe I swore in this. I'm so sorry. But it works. Ass bit is A to B. It's an A to B error, which I'll explain briefly. And object permanence, pair of ants, because it's 0 to 2. Get it? Pair, 2, 0 to 2, okay? I'm gonna go back to A, not B error. Okay, so this is basically that they cannot imagine things. Once they accommodate to something being in a specific location, they don't know to look elsewhere. And I'm just gonna show you it because I think videos are best. Not this guy. Yeah, you're not. Okay, and it's on 2 times speed because the trials to get them habituated to it is like hella long, but I'll show you. So, like, there's this kid.
We need to find it. Where's that fighter gone? We need to find it. Where's that fighter gone? Well done. There he is. Well done. Should we find him again? There he goes. Where's he going? Is that hiding in there? We're gonna find him. Look. Where are we gonna find him? Where is he?
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, we got it.
There he is. We gotta find him. Where's that tiger going to be? Should we find him?
Yeah.
Well done. Should I have another go? Now then, where's he gone? Is he down here? Is he hiding in there? Now, where's he going to be? Should we find the tiger? Where's that tiger going to be? Is he? Where's the tiger? Where's the tiger
Even
hiding?
though
There he is.
the whole time. And they're like, no.
Should we have a go?
How can you not?
Where's he going to hide? Is he going to hide in there? Is he going to hide him? Now then, we're going to find him. Where are we going to find him?
Where's the tiger? No, not in there. He's not there.
Where is he?
Bro,
Where's the tiger? What about in here?
Jack?
Where's the
they're
tiger?
blind, but then they're like, nah, they're not blind. It is just an A, not B error, which is like issues of object permanence. Or like if something has been trained enough times, then they can't imagine it being anywhere else. It's an imagination issue. Oh, so they're egocentric. Like, if you can't see the person, they actually don't exist. That's kind of egocentric of them. They're always thinking about their own needs. They're always waking their mom up at like 3 a.m. for milk. They're always screaming and crying on planes. Very egocentric of them. But yeah, infant got ass bit by a pair of animals. Yeah, please don't report me. What are the 3 capabilities and 2 incapabilities now? I want at least 10 answers. Think SML, and then the 2 incapabilities we just went over. We're testing your like immediate recall, okay? This is work in memory type sheet. I want at least 5 or 10 before I can continue on. You can just give the first initial if typing is too much work for you. Okay, so we got 2. So I didn't count egocentrism as an incapability because it continues to develop over all the stages. But we just watched 2 examples of 2 incapabilities, guys.
Oh shit. No.
Okay, A not B error is one of the incapabilities. Slay to the person. Very first person to get it right. Sensory motor learning, object permanence, and A not B. Yeah. Look at you guys go. Yeah, and then egocentric develops over time. Good job, guys. Good job using that working memory, okay? And just like that, we're done with the sensomotor stage. So, we memorized some numbers at the beginning of class. What happens after 2? What's the next number? 7, yeah, slay. So 2 to 7 is the pre-operational. We're thinking puffy Cheetos. They want to get some puffy Cheetos, P. Okay, so they begin to represent their experiences in like more symbolic ways. They can name things. Things have like names now. It's not just grabbing and then knowing like that my pacifier is something that I can suck. Now they can name the pacifier, or they can name like water, and that's an example of symbolic thought processes. And they are able to at least focus and explain one aspect of it. For example, you're like, oh, can you describe a dog? And they're like, yeah, it's really fluffy, it's super fluffy. But it's usually on like one thing. They can't really describe it in more ways than that. And these are the things they can't do. It's a lot. So they can't perform reverse mental activities. What the hell does that mean? It means that, I'll show you actually with the conservation video that we're about to watch. Let me just watch that. Let's play that right now, actually. I think that's a better way to describe it. Why?
These cups, and you're gonna have to tell me when they have the same amount, okay?
Example of conservation. When I was little, I used to trick my brother into getting less drink by pouring it into
tell me
like
when
a
this one is the same.
skinnier glass. And
The same.
Oh,
The
can
same?
you see that this one has so
Those two are the
much
same
more?
now?
Yeah.
And then I would steal like all the
Okay.
frappuccino because my mom was like
Same.
not bougie and would have a split of frappuccino. But then he grew old.
Good.
So I did the same.
Good. Okay, now watch this.
But this is a golden.
We're gonna take the blue water from this glass,
Not knowing.
and we're gonna pour it into this glass.
And like they just
Now,
watch that happen,
does
right?
this glass
They
have
just
more
add in
water? Does this glass have more water, or are they the same?
He compares them.
Has more water.
This one has
This
more
one
water?
has more water. And so what this is an example of is like he can only see one aspect of it. Remember centration? Yeah, like he can only compare, where the fuck is it? Okay, only compare one aspect, its height. He's not comparing anything else, like volume. And he can't like understand that it converted, but it's still the same. Okay, he can't reverse that operation. He can't be like, well, I just saw it in a regular cup and she didn't add any more water. To him, it only goes one way. It only goes from big cup to small cup and it's more now. So he can't reverse it. He can't conserve the idea of it being like the same. and he can only focus on one aspect. Let's watch another example.
Can you tell me why?
Because that one's higher than that one.
That one's higher than that one. Right. Can you tell me? So I'm going to make 2 more quarters. Okay. Does this row have more quarters? Does this row have more quarters, or are they the same?
The same.
The same? Okay, now watch.
Maybe she just moves them apart a little bit.
Now, does this row have more quarters? Does this row have more quarters, or are they the same?
That one has more quarters.
That one has more.
Wait, all of a sudden, just because she moved them outwards, this one has more because he's only thinking about how long the row is, okay? He can't imagine them being the same anymore. He can't reverse that. Like, he's being
More quarters?
Yeah.
Why does that one have more quarters?
Because it's stretched out.
Because it's stretched out? Okay, so how many are in this row?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, how many are in this row?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So, are there more in this row, or are they the same?
The same.
The same?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 sticks. Is this stick longer? Is this stick longer, or are they the same?
The same.
The same? What about now? Is this stick longer? Is this stick longer, or are they the same?
That stick is longer.
This stick is longer?
Yeah.
Can you tell me why?
Because you moved it over.
So now it's longer?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me. I'm going to pour blue water into each of these cups, and you're going to have to...
So silly goofy.
We're going to take water. Does this glass have more water, or are they the same?
There's just like
It has more water.
This one has more Play-Doh? Does this one have... Can you tell me why?
Because that one's higher than that one.
That one's higher than that one. Right. Can you tell me? Does this ball have more Play-Doh? Does this ball have more Play-Doh, or are they the same?
That one has more Play-Doh.
That one has more?
Yeah.
Let's try and make them the same. 2 of the same size. What about now?
They're the same.
They're the same now?
Yeah.
Okay, now watch. Now, does this one have more Play-Doh? Does this one have more Play-Doh, or are they the same?
That one has more Play-Doh.
That one has more Play-Doh? Can you tell me why?
You smushed that one.
Is that one smushed? How about now? Does this one have more Play-Doh? Does this one have more Play-Doh, or are they the same?
The same.
Now they're the same. Why are they the same?
You rolled that one back up.
See, he can't do that reversing on his own. He needs her to do it for him.
Right. Great.
Okay, just one more.
Okay. Did we show the graham crackers fair? Is this fair?
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell me why it's fair?
Yeah, what did I do?
I have 1.
You have 2 and I have 1.
Is that fair?
No.
No. How about now?
Now that's fair.
Now that's fair. Why is that fair?
have to- and I
I
have-
used to use that excuse all the time. I would break it into like 7 different parts, and then my brother would be like, ha 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 ha, I'm tricking you because you obviously don't know how to count. And I'm like, yes, I don't know how to count. That's exactly it. That was kind of evil. But yeah, that kind of explains all of these. He can't reverse it. She had to roll the ball of Play-Doh back up for him. He can't think of it. He has issues with conservation, whether it be liquid in a cup, whether it be solid Play-Doh, whether it be like the number of quarters, or like, I don't even know, other stuff. And he can't, okay, so this is actually interesting. If he was presented with a problem which was like A is greater than B and B is greater than C, he would have issues saying that like A is greater than C. He can't make that kind of logic jump. Does that make sense? Even though these equate to each other and these equate to each other, he can't make that jump that most people can. This is a logic question. And they also have issues differentiating appearance versus reality. For example, I think they did an experiment where they had a bunch of sponges look like rocks, and they asked the kid like, hey, what is this, like, what are these things? And they're like, oh, they're both rocks. And then they gave the kid the sponge to play around with, and then they were like, okay, what is it now? And they were like, a sponge. And then they put it back right next to each other, and then they were like, what is it? And they were like, it's 2 rocks again. And so like they still have issues where like appearance trumps whatever reality there is, okay? Like they'll always believe their eyes over logic. They're very impulsive, intuitive little creatures. And they're still egocentric. They still suck. But it's not because they're like selfish. It's mainly because they just can't do it. And let me show you an example. Okay, I don't want that.
Can you tell me what you see when you look at that from where you're sitting? What are some of the things that you see?
And a cat.
A cat.
And a tree. And a bone.
Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. Can you tell me what you see when you look at it from that stool?
An owl.
An owl?
And him.
What is that?
A goat.
A goat?
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you see?
Yeah, right there.
Right there, what is that?
A tree.
A tree.
And that's another little tree.
Another little tree?
Right.
Okay. And can you tell me what I see when I look at this from where I'm sitting right here?
An owl.
Okay.
And a goat.
Mm-hmm.
And a little tree. And that. And that.
Okay, so can you tell me what you see from that side?
A fox and a bone and a volcano and a rock. And
So they think that like whatever they see is what the other person sees, basically. Even though they were on the other side and they know that it's different. Okay, now let's see it in a different task. It's called the Sally Ann task. It's supposed to explain theory of mind. We'll get into that later. But yeah, it's an example of a false belief tasks. So.
This is Sally.
Okay, actually.
This is Anne, and this is Sally. And this is Sally and Anne's basket and box. And one day, Sally and Anne were playing with a block in their house. And then Sally decided to put the block in the box. And then she decided to go outside and play, but she couldn't see or hear anything, right?
yeah.
Okay. Now Anne, that tricky Anne, decided to take the block and put it in the basket. Now since Sally is outside, did she see Anne move the block? No, she didn't, did she? So when Sally comes inside, where will she think the block is? She'll think it's in there. Why will she think it's in there? These are Sally's basket, Anne and Sally's basket and box. And guess what? One day, Anne and Sally were playing with a block in the house. And then Sally decided to put the block inside the box. And then Sally decided to go outside and play, where she couldn't see or hear anything that was happening inside. Bye, Sally. Well, that tricky Anne, guess what she did?
She took it out of
She took the block and put it in the basket. Now, did Sally see Anne move the block? No.
Because she was outside.
That's right.
So reindeer.
That's right, she didn't see. So when Sally comes back in, where will she think the block is?
In there, but it's not. It's in there.
So she'll think it's in the box. Why do you think she'll think that?
Because she put it there.
So you see how older kids know that other people don't have knowledge that they have? You know, the first kid.
There's something inside. You see what?
Stop it. You see how the earlier kid that's in this stage, this pre-operational stage, still can't imagine that anyone else has a perspective unlike his own. He's like, whatever I'm thinking is the rest of the world. We're not doing a comprehension test today. Yeah, and then what was I saying? Sorry, I got distracted. Oh, but then when they get older, they're like, okay, other people know things that I don't know. That's why younger kids are really bad at keeping secrets, because you kind of have to have that to like keep a secret. Okay, let's see. Everyone tell me what's the number after 7? 11. I want to hear more. Come on, guys. I know you have voices. I'm like actively staring at people while they don't talk. Thank you. So, like I said, it's 7 to 11. This is the concrete operational stage. Essentially, they're like kind of getting it now. They can tell that the Sally Ann task, like they know how to solve that. They know how to do conservation. They know how to like do all those things that the first kid like couldn't figure out. But they still have issues with like systemic testing. I was gonna show a video of the pendulum problem, but it's like really freaking long, so you guys can do that on your own. But essentially what they'll do is they can't run experiments, or they can't like draw conclusions, because if there's more than one variable, they're just like wigging out. Like, for example, if I was like, okay, if everyone had to make a pendulum, and I gave you different lengths of string and different heavy objects, like, what would you choose to make one? And they'll try it with different variables and never really know what's making it swing that way. They can't like choose one variable and then test all the other things around it. They just like choose variables at random, mix it up, and so they never really come to a logical conclusion, because as you know, with experiments, you have to have like some kind of control. Okay, where's my... Okay, yeah. Do I have to explain that bear one? He's gonna do it in class. Okay, so formal operational. Essentially, now you can basically do everything. You can perform systemic experiments. You can conserve. You can like do everything that the previous people couldn't do. They are you. You are this age range. You are over 11 years old. Congratulations on being formal operational. But wait, there's more, because people suddenly disagreed with him. And we now know that there's much more to infants than just, like, stuff that he covered. They have a sense of coherence, continuity, and contact. What does that mean? So, coherence. They will freak out if, like, something suddenly disappears. They have, like, a coherent understanding of what's going on. If you, like, take it away, or if it just, like, suddenly falls without the ball catching it, they'll freak out. So this is a violation of expectancy. And I can show a video of it. Let's see if I have the video. I had too many videos and then I kind of stopped loading them. I can also show you a violation of expectancy. It's kind of a lot of information, so I made a chart about it. The experiment done was one where this truck was essentially going down a hill, right? And then they placed a box there, and they showed the kid that they placed a box there, and the truck would like get stuck on the box. And the kid was like pretty chill with that. But then they ran another trial where they secretly took the box away, and the truck could go all the way back down. And they like recorded the kid's reaction to it, and they found that the kid looked longer at things that seemed impossible, like a truck going straight through a solid box. The kid looked longer, and that's called habituation. For example, if you just play the same trial over and over where the truck gets stuck on the box, they know about that principle. But if it's suddenly new information, then they're gonna have a dishabituated response. They're gonna know that something doesn't add up, and they're gonna look longer because they're surprised. This kind of disputed Piaget's claim, because he said that they don't understand object permanence until like they're kind of old, but they realized that 3-month-year-olds, 3-month children can do this, and they were like, what the fuck, Piaget? Why did you think so little of these kids? They can actually do a lot. Even if they can't reach for an object, they can still look at an object, and we can tell like their expression because of that. So it was really interesting. What he failed to do was take into consideration that just because a kid can't reach out and grab something doesn't mean that they're not still cognitively working on shit, you know? He gave them a task that was impossible. He said, oh, like if you are cognitively thinking in this way, go out and reach for like this one object. But these 3-month-year-olds don't have that ability yet. All they have is that they can see. And so these researchers recorded just their vision and was able to prove that like 3-month-year-olds have a sense of object permanence. Yeah, it's all over here if you want to look at it. Yeah, there's a video. I might post it. We watched so many videos today. This is it in like text form. I'm not gonna read it, but here's it in text form if you want to see it. And this is the chart. Okay. He also talks about how kids have the ability to understand contact force, and essentially what they did is they had 2 balls, and the kid knew if you rolled one ball towards the other, it would hit the other ball and then move away. And then they ran another experiment where the ball just started moving on its own, and the kid was freaked out and looked longer at it and was like, whoa, what's going on? And so that proved that they have a sense of contact. I'm pretty sure he'll cover this in lecture. He had 0 notes on it, so I just had to Google that. I would wait for his